evening, everyone. I'm just going to wait for a few minutes for you guys to start joining me. And then when you do join me, just type in where you're tuning in from. Ooh, Facebook world. Those of you who are tuning in from Facebook over here and you are seeing a green screen behind me, the best way to watch me and interact with me is actually to go to my YouTube channel. So if you're seeing the green screen behind me, that means you are watching from Facebook. And on Facebook, I don't interact as much because it's harder for me to see your um, comments. But on YouTube, which is right in front of me, and you will see what we call my library in my home behind me. Then I take questions and comments from that area. So you have time to switch over. If you're on Facebook, you can pop on over to YouTube. So hello, YouTubers. How are you? I'm starting to see you all. Oh, a lot of you popped on already. Okay. So just type in where you're tuning in from and whether this is the first time. And if it is your first time, let me know how you have heard about it or you stumbled across this night. Hello, Melanie, Naomi, Marianne, and Marge. Um, so for those of you who don't really know what this is every Monday night or most Monday nights, I will come on and just interact with you and you have an opportunity to ask me any question about all things energy and personal development and um, anything about the other side and everything in between that. So, um, hello, Melanie from Newburgh. I'm glad to see that you're tuning in. Let me know how you heard about this. So, if you just came across it, or if you were told to come here by a friend, let me know. Hello, Sharon. My goodness. Hello, Sheila. Sheila from Houston. That's fabulous. Oh, now everyone's popping on. Cool. Okay, so I have a lot of events coming up. I have been laying very, very low over the summer, like 1 to 2 galleries a month, which is unheard of for me. But it was just, summertime and the transition and kids are home. And I just get into that lackadaisical, happy to be home at night kind of vibe. So I've been completely laying low all summer long and September long. I have a gallery not tomorrow night, Wednesday night at the Poughkeepsie Grand Hotel. There's tickets always available for that. So you can pop in there, make a reservation, or you can just show up. And tickets there cost $50. And I do believe it's payable at the door. I'm positive it's payable at the door, but I can't remember if it's cash and check, but they don't take credit cards at the door. And that's all through iHeartMedia. So if you need the links for that, we can post it later, or you could just go to my website calendar. But I have a ton, as you can see up here, of galleries coming up in the Hudson Valley and then Albany area. I have 2 coming up in Albany. So the Wood in Highland on October 2nd, that's always great energy. Actually, all of my venues, thankfully, I never pick a venue that doesn't have good energy. So that would be dumb of me to say that, oh yeah, don't come to that one. That's got shitty energy. Goodwill Fire Department on Friday, October 11th. That's in Newburgh. That's a new one for me. That's a fundraiser. The Polish American Community Center in Albany on October 16th, which is a Wednesday night. I believe tickets are selling out for that or close to, or I know they were making a big push on their social media to say to sign up. And then hospice fundraiser every year. I think this is my 4th year or my 5th, probably my 4th. Hospice Witch Hat Party on October 23rd. That's at Anthony's Pier 9. And that is actually how I started my whole intuitive question format, because the way it's set up there, it's not a gallery for the Hospice Witch event. It's you can pick a session with me and there'll be other people in your session. And then you are able to write down an intuitive question about yourself or a family member. And then I just randomly pick people out and give readings. So, and I try to go through a lot of them, a lot of them, because I always say, the more of you I get to in any one of these events, and whether it's a gallery, whether it's the witch hat, the intuitive question format, wherever I am, the more of you I get to, the more of you are going to talk about how cool I am to people that you care about. And so it benefits me. So sometimes people say, "Oh, you spend too much time on this person," but trust me, I'm always trying to get to as many people as completely possible. Vet, I'm glad to see you joining me from Facebook. I saw you tuning in on Facebook, and now I'm seeing your name here. So good to see you. Hello, Lee. Oh, good. A bunch of us signed up for your Witches Hat Hospice event. That is a fantastic event. The decorating alone for that party, I just like to look around and go around beforehand just to see and get ideas of how they even decorate. So the people in charge of just the decoration committee is ridiculous. So that's a really good fun event. Um, let's see what. Oh, and then my book club. I've been talking about a book club forever. I thought I was going to do one virtually, and that's still not terribly off the table or mostly off the table, but the at the Barking Goose Book and Bar, try to say that 100 times fast, in Newburgh. I did a book signing there just about a month ago, maybe a little bit more. And on November 10th, which is a Sunday evening from 6 to 8 p.m., I will be there so you can read the book ahead of time and we can talk about the book and everything about it, questions. So highlight, mark pages, write questions down because you will have me for 2 whole hours to ask, where did this concept come from? What does that mean? Can you clarify this more? Whatever. So that's my book for those of you who don't have it. I'm super proud of it. I've been kind of quiet, like I said, all summer long about just laying low in general and just really conserving my energy. And I haven't really spoken about my book much. So it's time to bring that back. I have like 8,000 other ideas for books running through my head, and I'm close to another topic, but my God, this brain, if you could only be in this brain for a minute, it's crazy. Also this week, or this past weekend, I started my energy transformation awareness class. I've talked about it here. It's my most intense workshop I teach all year. It is spanning 6 weeks long. We meet over 3 weekends. Oh my God. I love this class. I absolutely love teaching this course. This lights me up. And a lot of you who are tuning in have taken it. A lot of you, like Deb, I see you on here, are currently in this group currently. And I don't know, it just lights me up. I love being able to create a space where people can share openly about their stuff of their past in order to move forward and move their energy and just to get a better sense of awareness of how it all works, meaning our core beliefs and our upbringing, our environment, our nature, our nurture, what our brain does with that, how we interpret what has happened to us, positive or negative, and how we carry that through every minute. And it's buried in our subconscious minds, and we're all walking around completely unconscious, not realizing that things that we're reacting and responding to are actually very, very old conditioning and tapes. And most of them need to be upgraded. So that's what the whole ETA, or energy transformation awareness, is all about. I love teaching it. I'll offer it again in like the end of winter, early spring, like end of March into April or May. And this is level 1 of a 4-part series. So it's super intense. You have to take level 1 in order to take 2, 3, and 4. I'm offering 2 and 3 in November. So a lot going on in my life, which is good. And then in a segment that I should probably call This Week in Our Household, Greg has been feverishly tending to his chicks. Most men have like a middle-age crisis and they get a chick and a brand new fast car. And he got 7 chicks, as in chickens. So he's been taking great care of the little 7 chicks out there. And this weekend I've had 2 cave boys down, 2 cave girls, the cave boys' girlfriends, sick. And I think cave boy at college is also now sick. He's complaining of a sore throat. So it's never a dull moment now, is it, everyone? Never, ever, ever. So let's see. Let me go back here. La, Derb, hello there. Nicole. Let me just see. Did anyone ask any questions? Hello, North Carolina, originally from Montgomery. Hello, Christina. Hello, Jess. And let's see, Nina. Purple's not a good color to read on here. Can it be another color? You mean my stuff? I have it like really pink on here, and I can't change the color like quickly and easily. That's why I have a black background. It should have a black background and stick out. But I don't know if what I see on my screen is exactly what you guys see, but I can have Greg check on that. Hello, Kathy. Finally off on a Monday. Good get to visit with me. That's fantastic. Hello, Jess. I already said, but you're from Glenville. Hey, Barbara. How are you? Let's see. Kyle, yes, you're my best class. But I have to say, I even told this class, I told this class that my last class was so great. And I love this group. It's another great group of people. I can't believe it. It's a real great, great, great dynamic. So that's always super fun. And Pam is tuning in as well. So tonight is an opportunity. You can ask me generalized questions about energy and things that you've wanted to know. I remind you again that I don't take personal intuitive questions in this format. Every once in a while I do. With the weekend I've had, full packed schedule, and like 5 sick cave kids through here, I probably will not be answering intuitive questions. Although I just, for the first time ever, I have a feature on my website called Intuitive Questions that because people constantly email and say, I just have a quick question. And I always say, like, yeah, your questions are quick, but the answers are not. So finally, I think it was 2 years ago, when I couldn't work because my back issues, I couldn't work at all. And but I could lay down and I could type. So I started to say, all right, if you have a question you wanted to ask me, then I can type it back to you. So I have kept this feature on my website. I hardly ever really talk about it or like promote it, but I just dropped the price of the questions to $35 or $55 if you want me to make sure I get back to you in 24 hours or 48 hours. Now I already forgot. So that's available on my website. So if you go to my website, scroll down on the main page, you'll see an icon that says IQ, or what's your IQ, meaning what's your intuitive question, and then you'll get all the directions there. So it's always available, but I don't talk about it very much. So let me start with your questions. Hello, Kevin. Cheers. Cheers. Hold on, let me scroll back. I have lots of great questions already. Woo. Okay. Any galleries in Putnam and Westchester, Marissa? Off the top of my head, I know we've been working on one in Westchester, and I can't remember if it is in February. It was for another hospice group. It'll be on my website. So if you go to deborahhanlon.com and you click on calendar, you can go month by month and you'll be able to see what I've got going on. And it's all color coded. And I always forget what color the galleries and versus workshops and all of that are. I don't do those details. You guys know that, right? Like I have, oh God, that would be terrible if I had to be the one who like updated my website and stuff. No, it wouldn't happen. I wouldn't have a website. So I don't know all that stuff. I just know like what's in my phone for the week, like what I'm doing for the week. And tonight I actually went through the month of October and could not believe how many events I have. So, okay, Noreen has a great awareness and question. I'm just going to get rid of some of this stuff here so it's not so crowded. Noreen is saying the losses in my life seem to come in groups fairly close together. Is there a significance to that or just coincidence? Well, I would never say anything is coincidence because that's a common word that we like to use when we won't explain it in a larger way. But I would say it's certainly not a coincidence, but there doesn't necessarily have to be significance to them. It could just have been arranged that way. But if you are looking for the more meaning behind that, everyone around us and everyone we're connected with, whether that's someone on a shallow end, meaning someone you don't know well, but you see regularly. So say you get your coffee at the same drive-through every day and greet the person that gives you the coffee. You don't really know that person, but you're in their life every day, or you're around their energy field often enough. So that would be what I would call like a lesser significant relationship, but still a relationship, all the way to our really close, immediate loved ones that we see and live with and interact with every day. All of them have a time, we all have a timeline. And when we die, that's kind of been pre programmed. And not only is their death teaching us about life, but their death is impacting us about their life. So the fact that they're all close together is that you say, it's basically saying, say you chose that dynamic for so many to happen at once. And then you have to look at what is that dynamic of having so much loss in such a short amount of time doing for you, not to you, but for you. There's a difference in just phrasing the question of what is this doing for me? Your answer could be it's making me not believe in God. It's making me very upset, and it's making me want to isolate myself. It's, your answer might not be very positive, and so therefore you'll feel like, well, that's not really doing much for me. But even in the negative or the more dense responses to loss, it's still doing something for us, which no one likes, no one really gets until they're past that stage. So I'm sorry you're going through so many things all at once. It does seem to happen that way. And sometimes we're just wired to notice more. That whole thing of like death comes in threes. Um, I don't know where that originated, have no idea. I'm not really particularly crazy about that, because then we all kind of go into that like unconscious or subconscious panic over, oh my God, who's going to go next? Oh my gosh. Oh, good. I heard about, so and so who passed. And then like people say, oh, good. I heard a celebrity pass. So that's my third. So I don't really think it comes in threes. It's happening 24/7, 365 days a year. When you're plugged into a death more, you become more aware. Just like in my book, when I talk about paying attention for a kangaroo, and it's a whole big, lesson on searching and looking or waiting for a kangaroo to show up in your life. It's the same kind of principle. So that's a great question, though. Serena, it's a great follow up from, sorry, it's a great follow up from Noreen's question, because Noreen was saying, is that a coincidence? And then Serena is following that up with, how much of what happens around us is coincidence? It's a hard one to answer, because there's several types of people in the world. And there are some people who take everything I say and they apply it or everything that is said, not just that I say, and take it very, very literally. So if I say nothing is coincidence, there are some who will overly attach meaning to everything. And when that happens, you actually kind of lose a sense of yourself. So it's almost like an OCD in attaching meaning to everything, every interaction. I've had people say, oh my God, Deborah, I know so-and-so is with me because I was working on the computer and I was doing my homework, and then I got up to get a drink and I came back and my pen was on the floor. And they'll say, I know that was so-and-so who's crossed over, and they're waiting for me to validate that. But also I will know, like, wait, you have like 5 cats, and like you just told me that the cat likes to lay on your homework. So I do like to put an air of logic into some things, because otherwise I think we all could go off the deep end in trying to find meaning in every little interaction. I know that's not what you're saying, but I'm getting to that point. So in one way, nothing is coincidence. Everything is finely choreographed around the entire universe, in my opinion, and everything interacts and affects the other. So if you pull on one strand over here, it's like a spider web, everything connected. If you pull on one end of the spider web, the entire spider web reacts and responds and has to move accordingly. And we are doing that in tandem with not only the 7 billion people on the planet, but all of the species of every type of animal and insect on the planet, and the moon and the stars. I mean, it's so, so, so vast that it's way too overwhelming to really, really take that all in my opinion. So nothing is coincidence, but you also don't want to overly attach meaning to every single thing, because sometimes sometimes sitting in our grief is actually healthier and better than trying to say, oh my gosh, the pen that fell on the floor is my uncle so and so, and that's how he's saying it. Having said that, it could be. It could be that. So I don't want to take away meaning from anyone, but I don't want anyone to run away because there's a whole other slew of psychological ramifications of that. And I'm always about the science, the spirituality, and within the two, I like to blend the two so that we can live as normal lives as possible, as mental, emotional, spiritual, and physical healthy lives as possible, so that we're not going to too many extremes one way or the other. So I'm a very grounded, intuitive. Sometimes we're going to have to use logic. Sometimes logic won't apply. So that's a phenomenal, I love that question. I don't think it's ever been asked before, ever. Like, I know it's not been asked here, but I don't think I've ever been asked that one. So I like that a lot. But I hope that helps. And I hope it doesn't make people go well, no, because I know that butterfly was so-and-so. Then if you feel it, if you have a sign, I call them winks, as you know, if you have this wink from a loved one, you're just like, I don't know, I just felt it. That's it. Then just stay there. That's it. Because that is a sign. And people always say to me, well, Deborah, how do I know if a sign is real or not? And I will say, how did you feel when you received it? In the example that I gave before with the person with the pen, they were frantic. They were, then I would say, yeah, we have cats and oh my gosh, but then this happened and then the book dropped. And I'm like, well, your desk is really crowded. So sometimes it's an overabundance of trying to attach meaning to everything. And sometimes it's just a pen that drops. Sometimes it really is a faulty light bulb. Sometimes it is not. Sometimes there is something that's unexplainable in it. So no such thing as coincidence. Let's erase the word coincidence from our minds. So Laura, another good question. And thank you, Serena, for that one. Laura is asking, how do you know your loved ones that have passed can hear you talking to them? That's a great question too. I love these nights because it makes me think of things that I don't normally get to think of or have to think of. I just take them for face value. I know you're not asking me specifically. It's how do people know your loved ones that have passed can hear you talking to them? So speech, whether it's said out loud from your mouth and you can hear the vibration of the voice coming out to hear it, or speech in the form of thoughts, thinking, and sending energy or sending a message, both are vibration and it's communication. So with an intention, and anything with an intention in the universe will go to that place, the manifested. So they are that field of consciousness. We are also the exact same field of consciousness, but we are localized in a body and therefore trapped in our identities of what we believe who we are. They don't have that. So they are only in the field of thought and communication and vibration. So everything intended for them and everyone is heard, but it's not heard through ears. And this is where people get wait, I don't understand. Well, then how do they hear it? It's a knowing. It's an absolute positive knowing, a being. And actually, that is why my website is, I have it deborahhanlon.com, but it used to be beingknowingdoing.com. My center is called the Center for Being, Knowing, Doing, because those were the three words that I could condense that could explain best how I viewed and experienced and understood the afterlife. They're completely being in their pristine, perfect energy field. They're all knowing. They know everything, past, present, future. And they're interceding and intercepting things in our lives that they can, and things that we do still have to learn from, they can't change. So they're being, knowing, and doing. So when you're in that field, they are hearing, or knowing is probably a better word, any communication that you're sending to them, which is a great question. Oh my gosh, you guys are all fighting over which ETA group was the best. Okay. So Sharon, I hope you're doing your yoga while this, but my hair's so flat tonight. It's bothering me. One moment, please. I tried to do this beforehand, but then I looked really much like I teased my hair up. So then I didn't straighten it, but I brushed it, and now it's whatever. Okay, it's gonna bother me. I'll just not look at myself. If one of your besties who lost her mom in the last year is really struggling with it and life, what's your best advice as a friend? Ooh, that's a great one. Hard to say. You have to follow that person's lead in much of the way. So like this, there's not going to be a one size fits all. So that's why I say follow their lead. If this person is isolating, acknowledge that they're isolating and respect the isolation unless you feel like it's psychologically harmful and there's several other people around them that agree with you on that. Sometimes a lot of times people want to isolate. They just want to like take a step back. They don't want too much interaction. Um, and they need to process grief and they need to do it kind of alone. So you don't want them like thrown to the wind, which you obviously aren't. But some people really do need that space. But you just keep showing up, letting them know you're around, you're here to listen, to hear. In my opinion, I would say do not try like to go, hey, come to the movies with us, or hey, come on vacation with us, or I'm going to stop over and I'm going to do this. I wouldn't give suggestions on pulling them out and trying to get them to do things because when you're in that grief space, you're just in this like, you're like almost out of body. You're just kind of waking up and you're just existing, but you're kind of not wanting to exist and you feel like a really big hole and you never think it's going to get better. And there needs to be some level of experiencing that within normal parameters, of course. I am huge on grief counseling that feels right and clicks for you. Some people like group work, a lot of people don't. Some people want individual sessions, a lot of people don't. I'm a therapy junkie. I think the entire planet should be in therapy of some sort, like as a mandatory thing. I think we should all be in therapy by like 13. I'm not kidding. And certain points in our lives, I think we should really all see someone for their objective opinion. But so there's a bunch of things. She knows she already knows you're there for her. But just kind of feeling her out and letting her be within very healthy parameters is important. It is. And time. It's time. And some people, it depends. Some people are quick with their grief or seemingly quick on the exterior. And other people might take a very, very long time exteriorly, meaning some people might get very, very social, very, very fast. And a lot of times people go like, oh my God, what's up with her? Like her husband just died and what the heck? And sometimes that's the way they're grieving. It's like, I got to keep busy. I got to do this. I got to get myself out. I got to this. And other people are like, nope, I just want to hide in my house. So everyone is different. There's no right or wrong way. Obviously, if it's like you're overly using prescriptions or alcohol or any other sort of vice for your grief, that's a whole other story. That's a good question. Oh my gosh, Karen, I love this question. Karen is asking, how is your dad? And when will he be making another appearance with you? You guys were great together. I almost want to call him up right now. He sent me a text yesterday. So those of you who are in my ETA class, you might remember this. I mentioned my father's parents in the class, and I said that I didn't know them when I was here, when they were physically here, because I was an infant. But I have a very odd and strong connection with them on the other side. And I don't know why, because all the stories about them aren't really all that warm and fuzzy. So I just love them. I just have this oh my God, I get them. I totally understand them. And I was telling my ETA class that this weekend, and that day my father wrote to me and said, I don't know. And he doesn't normally do this. I just had a feeling I had to reach out to you today. If you're okay, that's all great. That's all I need to know. But I just had this really strong sense that I had to reach out to you. And I thought that was pretty cool that happened. I would love to have him. He lives in California, and I have a way of being able to put him on live with us from California. But I don't know if like technology wise he would really be able to like do it. Like I don't know. His wife definitely would, but I think he would, I don't know. He's way too more ADD, two ADDs. But I'll see. I'll see what he does. But I love that question. He's doing well. He just had a heart procedure. Um, Pretty big heart procedure 2 weeks ago. He's had AFib and he just had an ablation done 2 weeks ago. He had this 10 years ago here in Newburgh. Whoever that nurse was that bit his toe, contact me where I'm always thinking of you and he's always thinking of you. You know who you are. Um, and that's good. So thank you. We'll have him back, I'm sure. Kyle, nope, I don't have a class A-hole in this group. No, you are going to take the top trophy for that forever. You're going to hold that space in my heart forever, Kyle. Don't you worry. Oh my gosh. Melanie, how do you know when your loved one is at peace or not with what's going on in your life ever since they passed? Not happy with what's going on in your life ever since they passed. It's a hard one because we are self-judgers. It is very rare for them to actually be unhappy with you because when they cross over, they get into a whole other, it's like a wisdom consciousness, and they understand that we are human and we're here to learn things. And some of the things we're here to learn, we are going to choose not to learn in the best of ways. But they understand it as that. They don't understand it as um, in a judgmental way here, or you should do this or that way. They're understanding like, oh my gosh, okay, this poor soul is actually choosing a harder path than an easier path. So they understand it. They're not like disappointed and sad and upset. Now, in readings, it's come through many times like, oh, I'm really pissed that your brother took all my what do you call it? Will, all the money, inheritance. They'll come through and express stuff like that, and that just shows that yeah, had they been here, had they been in the physical, these certain things would not have been okay. But are they really, really disappointed? No, because there's no such thing as those emotions on the other side. There's no anger, jealousy, disappointment, sadness, anger. There is none of that there because the other side is the restoration of being back to your pristine self. That's that core center, that light that's with all of us is pure and pristine. It's untouched. It's just that we like wrap our core with our conditioning, our beliefs, our upbringing, our growth, our desires, our motivation, our lack of motivation. So all of that is what literally like suffocates our light. They don't have that. Nothing is suffocating their light. So they're not going to vibrate on a negative vibration at all, which varies very much from what a lot of like paranormal shows will show. Like they'll say, oh my gosh, there's souls that are not at rest. And I just don't subscribe to any of that. I don't feel it that way. I don't have that same experience. So I am speaking for myself that I don't get negative, angry, evil spirits. That's all to me, that's all garbage. That's all TV, that's all media, that's all fear-based. That's just it's not even it's they're trying to take, in my opinion, they're trying to take human concepts and put it onto a space and plane that is anything but human. So it can't translate. It's like it just can't translate. Hello, Jane. Oh my God, good to see you here. Oh, Kim, good. I haven't forgotten about you, girl. It's been a weekend. Let's just say that. James says, when a medium is tailgating me, what are the chances she will get the middle finger? This is referring to James posted, was that this morning or was that yesterday? Oh my God, I don't know. But posted that he has recently moved to Pennsylvania and he cannot believe how many Pennsylvania drivers pull up and tailgate him so badly. And I just responded like, I'm guilty of that. Like I'm in New York. I'm not in Pennsylvania, but I'm guilty of that. So that is what James is referring to. So if it's you, Chances are high that I will get a middle finger. But when you see it's me, then you will blow me a fabulous kiss. That's what I foresee to happen. Okay. My best friend passed almost 5 years ago. I felt her very strongly at first, and now it's almost never. Is there a reason our loved ones don't come through as strongly? This is another great question. Very common. Many different levels of answers. So we usually feel them the most in the beginning because we're really, really, really looking for it in the beginning to just quell our own disbelief, and we're trying to still keep a physical connection to our loved ones in any sort of way. So we're constantly looking for concrete external signs and winks from them. So we are really, really bringing our focus and attention to seeing, feeling, or hearing them around us. So it's super common. And as time goes on, you start to pull away from not needing that, because I believe we all always need those things. But you start to pull away into like getting into the groove of like back to quote unquote normal life, or it's a new normal. And so we stop really, really focusing on it all the time. And so that's one of the most basic and first reasons that I would explain. In terms of like physics and energy, when you're grieving and you're setting out all this energy field of grief and just blah, the universe is bouncing that back to you. Again, going back to because you're asking and needing it a lot. So it's almost like the frequency of your grief pulls it closer. However, also the opposite can be true. Sometimes the frequency of our grief pushes them away and we can't feel it. Everyone is different. Everyone is different, and every death is different. So you might be able to feel your neighbor right away, but if your parent passes, you can't, or vice versa. So there's no like actual formula for it. So, but it doesn't mean that they're not there at all. At all, at all, at all. It's just now if you want to just retrain your focus and attention to, okay, I really want to hear from so and so. I always tell you to tell them thank you for showing up. And instead of saying, please come through, please come through, please give me something, I always tell people, say, thank you for showing up. Thank you for letting me know you're here. Thank you for that wink. However you want to phrase it, you put it in a gratitude format, a thank you format, and that actually brings the awareness closer to us. That's a good question. So Karen is asking, how do energy fields work? That is a very broad question. If you can be a little bit more specific as to what you're referring to, I think I know, but I could go in many directions with that. So give me a little bit more detail to your question. Just real quick too, for those of you on Facebook, you really want to come over to me on YouTube, so that's where you can type up your questions to me and I can interact with you. So I keep Facebook on just because I know so many people want to tune in and hear the answers and aren't necessarily interested in asking me a question. And if that's the case, that's totally fine. But if you really do want to interact and you think I'm ignoring you, I'm really not ignoring you. I'm just always focused on the YouTube comments because they're big on my screen over here, or bigger. They're getting smaller by the month. It feels like my eyes are like, what? Okay. Nina. Okay, thank you. I'm glad you clarified the purple comment. Okay, Maureen. Wow, great, Maureen. I actually feel like you have had a private appointment. I feel like I have memory of meeting you, which is really weird because I'll have people that meet me last week and I'll have no recollection of it. But I think maybe in the beginning of when I used to do all of this, I had so few appointments that I remember the people that came to me in the very beginning much easier. Maybe it's that, but I'm glad to see you back. So thank you. Yes, give a thumbs up. I'm seeing that Greg has already asked all of you to give me a thumbs up. Apparently it's good for the algorithms. Not a thumbs up in the comment, but somewhere on your screen there's a button to press thumbs up. Remember when Nicole Kidman did that weird clap? Remember that thing? I just wind of my hand. I did some movement a minute ago and it reminded me of that. So I think I'm going to stop putting my hands up here because I don't know. Remember, she was doing something really weird like that. And that's what I just looked like. Okay. Anyway, oh, look, a squirrel. Hey, Greg, can you post the link to my Amazon store? Oh my gosh, I have an Amazon store. And people are constantly asking me about books I recommend and the incense that I burn at the center and what crystals I like and music that I use and all of that, all of my like, like Oprah, that woman Oprah, she's kind of like popular. Um, she has this favorite things. Well, I have a Deborah's favorite things. So I have to look at it again and see what else I can add to it. But yeah, it's an Amazon store, and I'm sure that Greg will post the link. On YouTube, the link is not clickable, so if he posts it, you can't just click on it and go right to it. You have to cut and paste it, which is kind of annoying. We don't know why. All right, Michaela, what determines who you reunite with when you pass? Say a first wife passes and then a man remarries. Which wife is connected after they pass? This is a great question. Comes up a lot. A lot of times people hate to ask it and they're like, I feel really bad to ask this because it really is on my mind. So again, remember a few moments ago when I said a lot of times we attach human concepts onto a plane and a domain and a consciousness space that is anything but human. So that question speaks to that. And everyone thinks it. Everyone wonders it. If you're married twice or 20 times, you will be reunited with each one of them. It's like a bad show series of like sister wives. I don't know. It's not like you have to take turns because it's if we were each individual drops of the ocean, right? And at any one point we're with one particular drop and then something separates. When we die, we're all back into the ocean. So it's like you're with all of them, but it's because it's not an individualized thing. Right now, we are that Rumi quote. I'm going to say it backwards. We are not the ocean, but we are the ocean. Hold on. What is the freaking quote? You guys will probably know it faster than I will. It's we're the drop. We're the drop of the ocean. And our soul, we return to the ocean. That's all of us together. Oh my God. Look up the quote. I'll post it later. But basically, we are individualized specks or flecks or particles of energy known as our individual cells. I'm the particle of energy known as Deborah. You're the one as Michaela. And that's what creates division. But the true core of who I am and who you are, that's the exact same essence. So when we die, we're going to be back to the same space. And therefore, all the wives and husbands and this one's and that one's. I hope that, let me know if that like answers it. And sometimes people are really upset with that. But again, if you're really, really upset with that and really hurt by that, you're thinking with a human lens, which is normal because you are human. But I do get a lot of people that say, don't tell me that. I don't want to know that. So then I pretend I didn't tell them. Okay. Janine, if someone passes unexpectedly, do they know? And can they be mad they went so soon and unexpected? Will they be mad and want others to go to the other side with them? Ooh, great questions. They know, yes. All the paranormal shows love to show, especially sudden death, that people don't know that they've passed. But if you are in a body and you leave that body and the entire universe becomes yourself, you can't not know that. You know that. They know they've passed the moment they've passed. They know that you're still here in that physical form and are not really equipped and capable of necessarily connecting in the way that they now know. They're not mad because of like what I said before. There's not that anger, that emotion doesn't exist. But also, I call it the great download in my book is when we pass, we get the reason why. We get the, oh my gosh, okay, this was my time to go because this person who survived needed to experience the loss of me. And oh, okay, I needed to be the person that was hit by that car. So the person who drove the car has, So we're all intertwined and it all makes sense. So that's why I always say they've got the good spot. They're not sitting there going like, Jesus, what the hell? This is bullshit. Why'd that happen? That's bullshit. They don't say that. We say that. They don't. They're saying the opposite. They're like, oh my gosh, okay, got it. Wow. They value life more than ever before. They value the experience of being in the physical and no longer having to be in the physical. So don't worry about them being upset. Now, nobody wants to, well, that's not true. A lot of people are suicidal, but nobody like wants to leave their loved ones upset. Nobody wants to do that. So um, we have to remember all of that, especially when we cross over. No, they are upset for us, but then they're also not because they understand the reasons and the growth that is potentially ours to grow from their passing. So that's a great question. Maria, oh my gosh, that's a good question. Oh, I just saw Karen's question real quick. It says, hey everyone, is it just me or is this, if this is live, why is it light outside of Deb's windows? That's a really good question because I'm not really sitting in this room. There's actually a green screen behind me and I transposed a picture I took from our front, we call it the library because I have a bajillion books in there. So the picture is from another time. In fact, it was obviously the winter because there's no ugly green screen behind me. That's pretty funny. Or we could just pretend I'm in California and it's still light out. Okay, Maria asked, do we make new connections in the afterlife? Oh, see, semantics gets funny here because new, the word new to us as if we were human, yes. But as soon as we cross over, we're no longer human and we're connected to all that is, and none of that is new to us. It just always has been. So we actually get a sense of the interconnection between every living thing in the universe across all of time. And we're not just talking like, the old pearly gates, knock, knock, let me in. We're talking of an interconnectedness and being a part of the entire system of life and energy and living consciousness. And so all of that is new, but it's also not new. Does that make sense? On a less expansive end, people love this, and I love sharing this because people will constantly say, Deb, will I be reunited with so-and-so? Or did my mom get to meet up with my dad? Or whatever the people they want to. And absolutely, whoever we know here, whether it's that person I mentioned earlier in the show that you get your coffee from every morning, or it's a loved one who is in your life all the time, you'll always be reunited with that energy because you're going to recognize the energy as you both knew each other to be once you crossed over, and that you have all been a part of everything at the same time. But not only that, now that I'm speaking to you, all of you, and whoever is hearing my voice and listening, your loved ones and my loved ones are meeting on the other side. Or they met first, and that's why you're tuning in tonight. I don't know. It's like kind of like the chicken or the egg, no pun intended, with all these chickens that we have here that I'm still trying to get over. But it's, you don't know, because again, it speaks to the interconnectedness again. So does that answer? I know it gets a little wonky. This is where all quantum physics comes in, and like our human brains are not totally wired and conditioned in a real way that we can understand these concepts like this very much. I mean, Einstein himself, like, he knew he was right, but he couldn't figure out how to explain or prove that he was right about the nature of light, and that's kind of what made him crazy. Oh, Jessica, that's a great question again. They normally, again, that's a human concept taken into the afterlife. And once we cross over, we are not connected to our body. So of course we don't want to see any form of life mistreated, but they're not connected. Even if they're absolutely adamant, like, hey, I don't want to be cremated, and then they were, or I want to be cremated and they weren't. I want to be left here and they're left there. We're not attached to those things. That's all in the material, human, physical world. So once we've crossed over, they're like, I'm good. For the most part, I'm trying to think. I don't think I've ever had someone say they are mad about where they're laid to rest. I've had a lot say like they know that they've been moved or they're going to be moved or they were buried in the wrong spot, or I've had all sorts of things like that, but never upset or never they're happy if you're happy. So they'll express happiness like, oh, I'm so glad I'm next to grandma, because they really know you're glad they're next to grandma. They are next to grandma whether we place them next to grandma or not. Oops, hold on. Melanie. Nope. Yeah, Melanie. You said a person who has passed can be in multiple places. When we are here, is a piece of our light being on the other side simultaneously that we are unaware of? Melanie, I know you read my book. Yes, that is in my book. That is the point, is that we have a human identity, which is the one we're all connecting with right now. You're hearing my voice, I'm expressing something, and you are taking a sensory input and snapshot of everything I'm saying, and you're processing it through your brains. So on that level, we are physically here. And in physics, we would say that our light is in a particle. We are housed in one location. So it's behaving like a light particle that we can measure it and find it. However, we're also spirit, energy. And like we said before, like we are the ocean. We're the ocean in every drop. Can anyone get that for me? I don't even know. So being that we're identifying as a particle, we're a separate unit, we're individuals. That's very clear. I'm an individual energy known as Deborah. You're an individual energy known as whatever your names are as you're sitting there, and whoever else is hearing this. We're individual. That's not in debate. What is in debate is the fact that we're also all vibrating on an energy field that is invisible, that we can't see, that we're all a part of. So it's kind of like we're the water in the fish tank, and a fish doesn't really know they're in water until you take them out of the water. Maybe they'll know, but they're not. All of life is the water. So that part of us that is everywhere right now is the only part that survives when we pass, because the body dies. So the particle, or the individual separate energy or identity of me, will not be found anymore. But the huge higher self of me, or the spirit energy self of me, will always be found, as of you and each person. So right now, that's what meditation does. It gets us in touch with that part of us, that still small space within us that is collapsible into nothing, where we can experience nothing, or we can feel the connection to everything. We do have that ability as humans. We just typically do not sustain it because we snap back into particle mode. So in physics, we're particle as individuals, but we also operate like light operates as a particle form, measurable, and wave form, not so much not very measurable. It's just everywhere. There's nowhere it exists. So that's how we are. We are particle and wave manifestations of energy. Gosh, I'm so thirsty from that. I'm always forgetting that I have this big microphone in front of my face, and you're hearing my gulping sound too, which is probably not pleasant. And that's my human self talking to you. Okay, let's see. Do our loved ones know, Eileen, about our life events and that they're always acknowledged and included, even though they're not physically here anymore? Of course they are. Of course they know this, Miss Eileen. Have you not met me? Yes, they are aware of everything. They're aware of everything before we're aware of everything. So your nephew getting engaged, they all knew about that happening long before even your nephew knew when he was going to do that. So absolutely. Great question. If a person passes away and they donate their organs, do they rest peacefully in their next life? Fantastic question. Yes, we do not need our organs to carry on with us in the next lifetime. I have heard this particularly with eyesight. I've heard this many times, but I've heard it with all sorts of organs, but it comes up a lot with eyes. If someone has donated their eyes to science or to another person, a lot of times in the reading, they'll say, I can see. And first I'll think, oh, maybe they were blind. Maybe why are they telling me they can see? And I'll say, were they blind? And they'll say, no. And I'll be like, oh, okay. So they had like really bad eyesight. Like sometimes I don't get the memo and I'm like, oh, got it. Like their eyes are somewhere else. So, and you're worried, oh my God, we took their eyes. Are they living in the afterlife, not being able to see? So, no, we do not need this physical stuff. We don't need any of it. So, I am a huge believer in organ donation because if we don't need it and someone else can, I mean, that's a tremendous gift. Talk about interconnectedness. Oh my gosh. And there's amazing books, of course, all the titles are escaping me, about how organ recipients tend to then start craving foods and have personality changes of pertaining to the person whose organ they have. So there's cellular memory and identity in each cell in our body. And when we transplant it, that stuff goes into the new person. So it's fascinating, fascinating, fascinating. Hey, Carrie Lynn, thank you. Carrie, you've been on my mind a lot, so I'm giving you like a hello, hello, hello. Let's see. Whoops. Oh my God, I just hit the thing. Hold on. Okay, here we go. Do they go through levels of understanding why they were the way they were, like a review of the person they were? Yes, I kind of addressed that here when I was talking about the ultimate download we get, not only about everyone else around us, but of who we are and why we had to go through what we had to go through and what we did learn and may not have learned in this lifetime will be repeated. Serena is asking, do you believe in manifestation? I'm assuming you mean generalized manifestation. Of course, I believe in manifestation. If you're talking about manifestation of like ghosts and spirits, I believe in that too, but it's not literal like everyone thinks. It's not like, you're not going to find me mostly being like, oh, what's up? Hey, ghost over there. Like, yeah, come sit with me, talk. Yeah, what? Hold on. Repeat that? Okay, yeah, okay. So it's not that kind of manifestation. That when I've been to mediums that do that and it makes me wig out. I don't like that. I don't like that. I don't know. I don't like that. So manifestation of being able to create something and manifest something, yes. I do not think that manifestation is as simple. Look, I just thought of it and it showed up. I mean, sometimes that happens, but I think so much, it's almost like propaganda is given around like, I just started envisioning checks in the mail and more checks were coming. Although at the same time, I do believe in that, but it's not necessarily like literal, because then people will take it literally and they'll be like, Deborah, I'm clearly not a good manifester. What am I doing wrong? God must not like me. I mean, everyone goes off into their own tangents. So, yes, I believe in manifestation, but it takes some work. I believe in activating and taking steps at all costs. So, if you're like, oh, I'd like to manifest millions of dollars, you can sit there and just say, yeah, it's just going to come to me. I'm one to say, okay, that's the goal. I'm putting it out there and now I'm taking steps towards it. Even if the steps are going way over that way, if the goal is, the universe will bring you back around to the goal if the goal stays your focus. Okay. Oh my gosh, everyone's saying hello to, I love it, Melissa and Christina and Maureen. I'm just getting to your answers now. Let's see. Oh gosh, I'm way behind, I guess. I'm apparently, because you guys already answered the fact why my my windows are light outside. Okay, let's see. Hold on. Joshua, this is a great question. If you commit suicide, do you pass on to a different place than others? No. I'm so glad when this comes up. it drives me crazy when I hear, and I do hear this way more often than I wished I did, is people will come to my office, will identify that this person has committed suicide, and they'll say, "Oh my gosh, another medium said that they're at unrest and they will spend their infinity trying to find us." And I'm like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" So, no, they're not in a different place. They're in the exact same place that everyone else goes, that interconnection of all energy. And it's like energy doesn't go like, "Oh, no, 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 you're not part of our club because look what you did. That was really stupid and shitty." It doesn't happen like that. That's a human concept put into a non-human realm. What does happen, but we are all in this, we have to repeat our lessons. So when we take our lives, we've got to start all over from day one. So in the next lifetime, those same kind of themes in our life that may have led us along to have taken our life will need to be repeated until you process and work through it, versus just trying to end it and be done with it, because then you're actually back at the beginning. So that's no different though than anyone else, because maybe this lifetime, maybe I took my life in another lifetime and I have to not take my life this lifetime to get past that. So we don't really know. You don't necessarily know, but it is not a different place. We get stuck on a lesson, but we can get stuck on a lesson of finances. We can get stuck on a lesson of chronic illness. We can get stuck on all sorts of lessons, which is no different than people who have taken their own lives. That's always a really important thing to make sure you're all aware of. Oh, thank you, Marge. Let's see. Some of these I answered already, so I'm just scanning. One moment, please, while I'm reading. Nope, our loved ones cannot be mad at us on the other side. Okay, Christina's saying someone yelled at her in a dream and told you it's not your turn, you need to be patient. Yes, that's a thing. If you are really, really sad and you keep saying like, I really want to go on the other side, they will absolutely come and be like, nope, sorry, not your time. But if it's a dream that like they're yelling at you just for generalized things, I always call that a projection dream. This is in my book as well. Very important to know the difference between a projection dream and a visitation dream. They are very, very different. They feel very different, and the whole explanation is in the book. And I have explained it here on YouTube too. So if you want to look back through some of my videos, you'll see that there. Let's see. Pam, don't even dare offer a rooster. Don't even dare offer a rooster. Are you kidding me? I'm not a morning person as it is, and if I hear something cock-a-doodling doing outside my yard, I'm coming to find you specifically, Pam, and dropping this rooster off. Individually, we are one drop. Together, we're an ocean. Thank you, Maureen. Finally. Oh my gosh. Okay. Oh, Nina, that's pretty cool. Nina said she remembers I told her that her husband saying his eyes worked after he's passed and he was dyslexic in this life. So there you go. There's another reference that I might think literally is eyesight, but it's that his eyes worked differently than everyone else. Kevin, you're always good for that too. Kevin says you are not a drop in the ocean. You are the entire ocean in a drop. That's the one I was looking for. And of course, Mr. Hayes, you got it for me. Okay, let's see. Oh, happy birthday to your dad, Stephanie. Yes, he will, of course, know the significance of his birthday here because you're carrying on the significance of his birthday here. So, yes. Alexis, how long after passing and being on the other side do you start a new life? That's a great question. The woman I always bring up for past life regression, Carol Bowman, has said that it is rare in research, and they have copious amounts. And I don't want to like quote the wrong amount, but like 240,000 cases or a lot. It's probably 2,400 cases, and I'm like exaggerating, but it's a lot. I know it's not 2,400. Studied and researched cases of past lives where they followed the life and went in and like clarified all the details. There's tons. By Ian Stevenson did this work. And then Carol Bowman was a part of that work after Stevenson. She didn't work with him, to my knowledge. I could be wrong on that. But anyway, her research, or the research that she has talked about, says it is very rare for someone to reincarnate within that 9 months, but there are documented cases that a soul has reincarnated in a 9-month time span. She also says that it's usually not for like a generation or 2, maybe even 3, that another life will be reincarnated. But again, that's not like a hard and fast rule, so it's hard to say. It really is hard to say. Oh my God, Kevin, that's right. Kevin is in the Niagara Falls Dr. Joe Dispenza retreat. You are going to have to download everything that you experience there and just send it to me telepathically, please, because amazing. That's where I would definitely like to be. Let's see. Kim. Trying to get people that I know I haven't chosen yet. So, what's the difference between manifesting and a vision board? A vision board, there's no difference, and then there's a little difference. Manifesting is the outcome of a desired goal. My words. A vision board is a constant reminder to keep our mind focused on what it is we want, because normally the human mind is focused on what we don't want, which then we get more of that in our life. So when we're focused on what we don't want, oh my God, I don't want to die young. I don't want to die young. I don't want to die young. And then someone dies young. So whatever we're focusing on, we actually then manifest. So a vision board's purpose is to keep our mind focused on, oh, that's right, I'm working towards this. That's right, this is what I want. These are the feelings. So a lot of people teach vision boards with objects, and that's totally fine. I always have objects on my vision boards, but I usually want people to identify the feeling they want to have in their life. So if you want to feel connected, you find pictures and photos of someone feeling connected. Maybe that means that you're with family and friends. Maybe that is, who knows? I don't know what that means. So the vision board is the constant reminder. Very, 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 very powerful stuff. Very cool stuff. I think I shared on Facebook or Instagram that in 2015, I do vision boards kind of a lot. And I make them small, like paper size. And I made a vision board, and on it, I put an engagement ring and a wedding band that I loved. I don't even remember making this vision board, to be honest. And I tucked it away at some point, and then I moved in 2016, and I found it. I would say, 6 months ago, 8 months ago? I can't. Yeah, what it was be after we got engaged. So I find this vision board and I look at it and I'm totally freaked out because the ring that was on that vision board, which Greg never saw because I didn't even know I had it. It was tucked in all my paperwork when we moved, was this very ring. Literally this exact ring. So that, you just can't make that shit up. You just can't make it up. So get vision boards. I always do a vision board workshop the Saturday or Sunday before New Year's. So whatever that turns out to be, keep your eye on for that. Okay, someone was saying, I saw somebody. Why would people ask about me when they're passing? It has happened multiple times and sometimes they barely know me. Wow, I don't know. I'd have to ask them. I'd have to ask those people. I don't know, because you said they barely even know you. I was going to say, are you their nurse? Were you a caregiver to them? But that's pretty cool, I think. Oh, Christina, that's a great question. Oh, hold on. I like Stephanie too. Christina, I'm coming right back. Stephanie said the manifestation is funny. My dad always said he asked God for 75 good years. And then when he was dying, he said, I asked for 75, but I'll take 71. That is adorable. That's adorable. Yeah, we do have to be very mindful and careful of our words. We really do. So that segues right into Christina's question, which is, so if someone is really scared of getting cancer and thinking about it constantly, like they have a health anxiety, then they'll manifest it to themselves. So this is when we all go batshit crazy, right? And we're talking about this in our my energy transformation awareness class, because we're like, oh my God, we don't want to think too much about that, but we don't want to not. So no, I'm not going to say that someone who's constantly thinking of cancer is going to give themselves cancer, because many people never ever even think of cancer and they get cancer, or their child get cancer, their spouses and their husband, whatever. So no, but you are attracting a consciousness of cancer to you. So what does that mean? Cancer is going to be around you. And I'm freaking everyone out now. I feel like all of you are like, oh, I'm turning this off now. I'm done. I don't want to hear about it. Let's go put on the news because that'll be more cheerful. So don't stay with me here. I mean, not don't stay with me here. I'm saying don't turn it off. Stay with me. Yes, Melissa, I totally want the convertible. That is still on my vision board. Going back to the conscious, how do I explain this without freaking everybody out is the thing. If you're constantly worried about any illness, let's just take any illness because cancer just freaks everyone else out in the word itself. If you're focusing on illness, you're going to get more illness. You're going to be aware of every ache and pain and this and that. So instead, as soon as you notice that you are worried and have anxiety about cancer, you want to very mindfully switch your thought to, I'm so grateful I can walk today, or I'm so grateful I'm healthy today. Change the thought, because you have to retrain your brain to focus on what it is you do want. So sometimes the negative thought, not sometimes, I think all the time, the negative thoughts are trying to show us like, hey, this isn't feeling good, right? It's not feeling good. So like, please change. But we don't change. We just keep obsessing and focusing more. So any negative thought, oh, I'm too fat, I'm too this, I'm too that, I'm a loser, I'm this, blah, blah, whatever our negative thoughts are, that is a signal that something is not right and you need to change it. So the next time you all experience a negative thought about yourself or someone else, notice it and make a conscious change of, I am going to choose not to carry and hold on to that thought. It is way easier said than done. I'm extraordinarily guilty of like obsessing over injustice. We all have this in us. I'm not saying I'm right for it by any means, but I also never want to come across like, oh, just change your thinking and everything's going to be great, because sometimes we are human, and being human means that we fall into these denser, heavier experiences and thoughts. So the trick is change your thoughts for sure. You're an oncology nurse. So Stephanie, of course you're going to think about it all the time. And so as an oncology nurse, really make sure you bring your mind. Well, it's a tricky one because you want to have complete compassion for everyone coming through your doors, the patient and their families and all they're enduring. You don't want to take that on and into yourself, but your awareness of cancer, and then you can flip your mind of like, I'm so grateful for what is going on and right in my life in this moment. So it's a real constant exercise of bringing our thoughts back to a positive thought. And I am not talking about fake fucking positive thinking. You guys know me by now, but I'm just reminding you, I'm not like, oh my God, everything's so great. I don't mean that. I don't do that. I'm the anti that, actually. But be mindful of, wow, I'm carrying such negativity. Is that really working for me right now? Or are my own thoughts terrorizing myself? And that's what we often do. I had a therapist, Anne, used to say to me, Your brain is a dangerous neighborhood. You keep mugging yourself there. And I was like, ooh, I like that. So I do have that visual a lot of like, why did I just beat myself up in like an alley in my head, or another person in an alley in my head? And actually now it's like a particular person that I keep beating up in the alley, but whatever. So the point is, we don't need to do that, and it's not good. Can an illness like cancer be brought on by blocked emotions? All illness can and is blocked emotions. All illness. Any dis-ease in the body is brought on by either emotions that were not dealt with, emotions that were pushed down, emotions that we can't cope with. Sometimes it's an over delving into emotions too. It could be the opposite, anything in an extreme. So if it's over processing, I need to release everything, that kind of thing. So it's tricky. It's also a tricky topic because then people will say, okay, so what kind of blocked emotions would a 1-year-old baby boy have who was diagnosed with cancer, or my brother with neuroblastoma? What would that be? I don't know. I don't know. That was his lifetime and his lesson. And so there's so many other things that are involved in this, and not just like cancer or illness itself. None of us have any control over the quantity of time that we spend here. So maybe my brother, and I know this for a fact, needed to pass, and he had to pass at 4.5 years old. And because every one of my family members and everyone he touched, their lives took on a piece of Christopher, and we evolved from it. And this is one of the reasons why I evolved doing what I do, because of my brother's passing. So that had a purpose. All life is a purpose. So you can control your quality of life. So we have to live healthier lives just to increase the quality, but we cannot change the quantity of our life, because when it's our time, it's going to be our time. Nothing is going to stop that. Let's see. I'm just reading all the stuff about the convertible, wanting convertible. Yeah, it is. A lot of it is very much mind over matter. We freak ourselves out. A lot of life is about mind over matter, for sure. Oh, Carrie Lynn, send my office your email. Send an email to my office, info@beingknowingdoing.com. Tell Michelle that. So we'll send another one out to you. So I think I'm going to end it here. Here's what we're going to do, though, because I don't want to end everyone on like this cancer consciousness, because that's no fun. I want you to just think of something that you are so grateful for, something or someone that you're grateful for in this moment. It could be the fact that you have a bed to lay down in. It could be that you have your food. It's that you can walk. You have your loved ones with you. Find something that you're happy or can stand in gratitude about, and allow all your thoughts to keep coming back for the rest of the night until you fall asleep to the thought of the gratitude and love that you do have currently. You will see, this is an exercise, you will see your mind drifting back towards what isn't right, what you're worried about, what you wish didn't happen, who you're angry with. Your mind will wander. And as soon as you notice it's wandered off, you bring it back to the focus of who and what you're grateful for. That is your homework for the next week. It's really good to do that before you go to bed, because we all know as we get older, when we go to sleep, all of a sudden, every incident in our lives that's ever occurred that we didn't like comes to memory. And then we have like the perfect response for everyone that we didn't have a response to. Or we are prepping for like an argument, a fictitious argument in our minds. So that's a massive waste of energy that we all do. Be aware of it. Pull your energy back towards gratitude for someone or something in the moment that you're in. So I will leave you all with that. That's your homework. Don't forget the intuitive questions. I have so many galleries, like Wednesday at the Poughkeepsie Grand. So I hope to see you there. I have not been in gallery form in a very long time, so My calendar is quite full in October and moving into November. So there's that. I will be on Q92 radio show Wednesday morning from 8 to 9 a.m. So you can call in there to ask a question specifically about your loved ones or intuition. And then I will be very shortly on WGNA, the dates to be announced quite soon up in Albany. So good night, everyone. Thank you again always for tuning in and staying with me all night. I appreciate that. Talk about my gratitude for who I'm grateful for all of you who actually give a shit about what my mouth has to say. So have a good night. Enjoy your week, and I will see you all next Monday night. Goodbye.